great afternoon. Happy Wednesday. Happy Winning Wednesday. Happy Wealthy Wednesday. And welcome to the Legacy Lab, 60 Minutes to Black Financial Freedom. I am your host, Stephanie Miller-Henderson, and I'm super excited for you to join me this afternoon or tomorrow or next week whenever you catch the replay. And if you're tuning in live, thank you so much. I absolutely appreciate you. If you are tuning in via YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to Intellectual Radio so that you can catch not only this, but so much more from that channel. Also, while you're doing that, I'm actually under construction with my YouTube channel, but please go ahead and subscribe, follow on Facebook, but subscribe Stephanie Miller-Henderson, follow on Facebook Stephanie Miller-Henderson, or the Black Legacy Lab on YouTube as well. Thank you so much. So look, March was awesome. March was absolutely awesome, and I'm so grateful. Not only was it Women's History Month, but, and don't even ask me about March Madness, because I don't know. I have no clue what the brackets are, who's in it. I don't know, but I know March Madness is a big deal. I just never quite got with it. And let me rewind and go back a bit. I want to shout out and say thank you to Earl and Wanda for allowing not just myself, but so many others to be able to utilize this platform and this space to allow our voices to be heard and to get the word out on a variety of topics, whether it's ranging from politics to finances to education to mental health. You can find it right on intellectualradio.com. And so thank you, Earl and Wanda, for all that you do and for all that you've done for over a decade. Shout out to you. That is indeed Black excellence. Listen, we're in April. It's April 2nd. And a lot is still going on in the world, as it will continue to be. But let me just say that April is Financial Literacy Month. And so you know I am super excited about that, because it is definitely in alignment with what the show is about, right? The show is about building or increasing wealth in the Black community. And so it's a timely topic. It's always necessary. But with April being Financial Literacy Month, I want to be able to bring you some special things. And so April is also Autism Awareness Month. And so later on in the show, we will have a phenomenal young lady. You've heard from her before last month. She's going to come back and she's going to share what she is doing on the east side of Chicago as it relates to autism awareness. And so that's two things that I want you to remember. April is Financial Literacy Month, but April is also Autism Awareness Month. Now, some other things that I definitely want to highlight. If you are the owner or founder of an organization or, an initiative that has a focus on autism awareness, I would love to hear from you this month. So you can definitely consider promoting your show, your organization, your initiative, your event. I'm sorry, not your show, but your event, on the Legacy Lab. So definitely consider that. If you are interested in that, again, if you are the founder or owner of an organization or an initiative, a community event around autism awareness during the month of April, and you want to get the word out, you would like to be able to promote your initiative or your event or your organization, you can definitely do so on the Legacy Lab. So feel free to contact me, call me, or text me at 708-658-4735 for that. We definitely want to make sure that we are educating the people around autism. Another thing I want to highlight. If you are a business owner, especially in the area of financial literacy, this is your month. This is your time, right? And so if you are doing some things in the community, or you have an organization or an initiative, or even if, you are an employee around the community development or a department with banking, definitely connect. We need to connect so that you also can utilize the Legacy Lab and this platform to spread the word on financial literacy as it relates to your organization, your initiative, and what you are doing in the community. And so again, that number is 708-658-4735. You can call or text me, and I would love to have you either just promote your initiative or your organization, or even share the studio with me as a guest. We want to hear from you. I would actually be honored to hear from you. We, education is key. Information is power. And, that the good book, says that we perish from a lack of knowledge. So we want to make sure not only, that we are able to get the knowledge, but that we're able to be empowered by it, to execute it, so on and so forth. Hello to Facebook. I see you. Some people on Facebook. If you're tuning in via my Facebook Live, definitely show some love. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And thank you again for taking the time out to hang out with me for a few minutes this afternoon. Now, speaking of executing and elevating, I have on a t-shirt that says, "Execute the Dream." And I received this t-shirt. I purchased this t-shirt this weekend on Saturday at the first Black Professionals and Business Owners Networking event that was held at the Divine Purpose Fine Arts Center. Oh my goodness. Can I tell you that we left so full? We had 11 featured businesses. They were all phenomenal. We had over 50 guests to RSVP. I'm just so grateful and so thankful just to be able to to be a steward over this event. And save the date, because that fourth Saturday in June, we are going to run it back. So stay tuned for more details as far as the location and who will be featured and what the theme will be and all sorts of things. But look, shout out to Rona Robinson, who has all things inspirational and faith-based, whether it's your t-shirts, your mugs. I got this t-shirt, Execute the Dream, and I'm super excited. I also want to shout out Pressed and Fresh. Pressed and Fresh, Janine Dixon is the owner of Pressed and Fresh. And when I tell you that Royal Flush juice with the red cabbage, the ginger, some other delicious stuff, that thing got me right together before church on Sunday. I felt just rejuvenated. And so shout out to Pressed and Fresh. You want to find her on Facebook. She now has subscriptions. She's there. These Black business owners are doing some amazing things. And it's nothing like, being able to support, but also being able to support something that's good for you, right? So that juice was good for me. So I want to shout those individuals out. And I got one last shout out, y'all, because I love showing love to the people and to the business owners, right? Because it's not just about me, but it's about we. And so there is a young lady. Her name is Marcy. She calls herself Marcy Projects. Can I tell you that she had all the household items that we need? And so shout out to Marcy, who is also on 106.3. And I just appreciate you for being present, my sister, with all of those items that I needed. And so I'm going to be doing some shopping. Marcy has a brick and mortar store where you can just go and get everything. And so if you really want to be intentional about supporting Black owned businesses, helping to increase Black wealth, it starts with that cooperative economics piece, right? So let us pour into one another. You can go to her store versus going to the big box stores, the Walmarts and the other things. You can support those small businesses. And so shout out to those ladies. I am super excited. You know, I have to kick it off by giving some shout outs. So back to April being Financial Literacy Month. And this is the question that I want everyone to ponder. Just kind of reflect a bit and go back with me. How many of us, and if you're tuning in, Facebook, if you're tuning in on YouTube, comment. If you're, listening from any of the podcast channels, you just have to send me a message of some sort. But I really want to know how many of us were taught financial literacy tools or principles during our elementary or high school years. I really want to know that. So if you're tuning in right now and you're watching me right now on Facebook Live, type it in the comment section. Did you participate in any financial literacy programs during K through 8 years or during your 9th through 12th grade years? Let me know. So the answer for me is no. No, I cannot recall. I do not recall being educated around financial literacy tools, tips, principles, any of that during my elementary school. Let me scratch that because I was about to tell a tale. During my elementary school years, I do not. However, because I went to Chicago Vocational Career Academy, aka CVS, we had a variety of vocational programs or majors, if you will. And so we had, horticulture, we had welding, we had aviation, we had cosmetology, and so many more. Auto mechanics, I believe. And then we had banking and finance, or business and finance. And so that was my vocation or major during high school, which full circle, kind of helps me as I'm reflecting while I'm talking to you, helps me to understand why I've always had, that entrepreneurial spirit and that seed, just kind of within me from those years. So I'm grateful for those teachers. And I'm coming to thinking of one of my most influential classes, the accounting class that we had, during that time. So yes, from 9th to 12th grade, yes. And then in addition to that, as a work study student, I remember working at Seaway National Bank. And so that was, and that was probably like junior and senior year. And so that was very profound, to be able to, of course, leave the school building, maybe at like 11:30 a.m. or something like that, and then go to work at the bank as a teenager. And so there were some financial literacy tools and principles that I was able to learn during my years at CVS. So shout out to all of the CVS alumni, all of the CVS teachers, the people that are still, hanging on, holding strong, right there on 87th Street. And so, yes, but let me know. Let me hear from you. Did you get any of that during elementary school or high school? So as we kick off Financial Literacy Month, we have to ask ourselves, I'm real big on etymology. So what does it even mean? We hear the word finances. Our mind just goes directly to money, of course, right? Money. But financial literacy encompasses so much more. And so I looked it up on Investopedia, and I'm going to give you what the definition of financial literacy actually is. But before we dive into that, let's talk about faith. So this month, April, we're talking about faith and finances. So, I feel like they go hand in hand, just as anything in life, right? And so without faith, not only is it impossible to please God, first and foremost, but I feel that faith is the main ingredient of any goal that you want to accomplish in life. And so that includes becoming financially healthy and secure. What does that, let's dig a little bit deeper. We could talk about what the word says. Says that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And that's a famous passage of scripture, Hebrews 11:1. Now, I actually love how the Message Bible read in that same scripture. And it said that the fundamental fact of existence is that this trust in God, this faith, is the firm foundation under everything that makes life worth living. So it's like if you don't have faith, you kind of give yourself, you don't give yourself the opportunity, let me say that, to live a life that is worth living. And so that's going to be in everything, every goal, whether it's with your health, with your wealth, with your relationships, at your career, whatever it might be, you're going to have to sprinkle some faith on that thing. And so faith and finances, for me, they just go hand in hand. By faith, the world actually was called into existence. Everything is called into existence by faith. So for some people, I know that, faith is synonymous with hope. It's synonymous with trust. And it's a big B word that is synonymous with belief. Belief. Like, hopefully, we can all agree that you need to have hope and you need to have some belief that you can even achieve your financial goals. I say it all the time, like, I'm going to be the first millionaire in my family. I believe that for myself. I believe it. I see it. I'm walking in it. I'm putting one foot in front of the other every single day toward that thing. I can see myself on the other side. And so that's belief that nobody can take from me. I feel like you could either win with me or watch me win, but you're not going to take that belief out of my mind that I will accomplish that, not just for myself, but for my family, for my community. That's the mission, right? I believe it for myself. And so without that belief, just like, again, being synonymous with faith, how will you achieve, your financial goals? If you don't believe it, how can you achieve it? And that's the truth. Hey, Facebook. Hey, Facebook. Somebody send me some love, some hearts, some comments. Let me know your thoughts. Definitely let me know, not just Facebook, but wherever you're tuning in from. Let me know if you had ever been taught any financial literacy principles or tools, whether in elementary school or high school. I want to hear from you. I want to do a poll. Now I want to be able to come back next week and share how many people shared that either, yes, they did receive these things, or no, they did not. Because a lot of people I talk to said that they've never talked about financial literacy. They've never had any programs during school. They never had conversations, even, around the dinner table. The conversation, as I stated a lot in March, during March, a lot of the conversations is like, you got to go to school, you got to graduate, you got to get a good job so that you can get some good benefits. And that was the gist of the conversation. It didn't go any further. But back to the definition. What is financial literacy? So according to Investopedia, financial literacy is, I'm going to read it exactly how it states it, is the ability to understand and effectively use various financial skills, including personal financial management, budgeting, and investing. I'm going to read that again. Financial literacy is the ability to understand and effectively use various financial skills. So it's not just one thing. It's not just go get a job. Including personal financial management, budgeting, and investing. So in that article where they were defining financial literacy, it went on further to say that when you are financially literate, you have the essential foundation. So the very necessary and important foundation for a smart relationship with money. So knowledge, the financial literate, right? Being financially literate, that's that financial literacy part. If you have the knowledge, if you have the basic knowledge, and that is what is being provided on the Legacy Lab. If you have the basic knowledge, then you have the foundation. Woo, that's good. You have the foundation, because we know if the foundation isn't strong, then you can't build anything. You can't build anything on a rocky foundation, on a shaky foundation, on a cracked foundation. So if you're financially literate, if you have the basics, you have the essential foundation for a smart relationship with money. That's so good to me, because let me tell you how it wasn't until 2021 when I participated in a program called the Her Institute. And it was with a group of phenomenal Black women, business owners, under the leadership of the one and only Melody Span Cooper, that anyone had ever asked me personally, what is your relationship with money? So I was taken aback by the question, because, in my mind, and I'm 40 at this point, right? So this 20 plus years post high school, where I had some teaching, some learning around financial literacy. But see, this is the thing. If you don't use it, y'all know the rest, you're going to lose it. So if I got the basics in high school, where I actually started to like the Wall Street Journal, I used to actually like it. I remember even attending an event at the Chicago Stock Exchange with the mayor, and I was able to, my parents were there with me. And so these were like seeds that were planted. But then those seeds have to be watered. They have to be watered. So there was nothing watering my seeds that were planted during my years at CVS. And so for 20 years, 2 decades, nothing but just work, go to college, get a good job, make a good salary, get some good benefits. That's what I did, like many of you. But the seeds were planted. And the thing about a seed is, it's planted and it's going to, God is going to do he's going to give the increase. He's going to give the increase and he can do the watering in his time. And so this is the time. And so now the things that I've learned, the basic financial literacy skills that I've learned and attained over the last few years can now be compounded on to, what was embedded 2 decades ago. And I can continue to grow, right? But that was the first time, y'all, that anyone had ever asked me, what was my relationship with money? I'm like, I earn the money. It goes in the bank, but I spend the money that's in the bank. That's the relationship. That's it. It's almost like an abusive relationship because it's like you just use it until it's gone. And if you put that in the aspects of people, you're like, wow, So I'm big on like reciprocity, right? I'm big on like pouring into one another, And so if you look at your money along those lines, at some point, the money that you're making from that good job and that good career that you went to school so many years for and probably had a whole lot of student loans, at some point you want that money to make money. You want that money to be perpetual, even when you're not at work. That's that financial literacy piece. And so far too long, it was over 20 years, far too long before I was able to receive, that pouring into. And so I'm grateful for that. And I remember being in that group with one of the young lady who's actually now she's on WVON, Cleopatra. And we were in that group together. And so I think back and I'm like, wow, I love how God just places you, in spaces with people, and you're being impacted and they're contributing to your growth in such a major way. And they may not even know that, because when you participate in these things, you don't really know the people. But I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful for the experiences that God has allowed me to have as it relates to business, as it relates to financial literacy. And so when you think about financial literacy, financial products and services, it's become pretty popular and widespread since the year 2000. And the term financial literacy is popular and we say it a lot, but I feel like, it goes well beyond just budgeting and saving. Beyond savings and budgeting. It goes beyond working your job. Because I always share this, with listeners, this is what I share with people that I come into contact with. It's easy to tell someone that they need to save more. But it goes back to what I mentioned a few episodes ago, that if you're living paycheck to paycheck, how are you going to save something? How? Like where? Your payroll is gone. You get paid on Friday. Your payroll gone on Monday. Or sometimes it's gone on Friday. Right? And so financial literacy has to go back to that word that I brought up all March long. The word that is included in that definition, investing. What are you investing in? $10, $20, $50, $100. $200. You can invest in so many things. The misconception is that you need thousands of dollars to invest. No, you don't. You don't need thousands of dollars to invest. There are opportunities, things that you can invest in for well below $1,000, right? And so I want everyone to understand that you can invest, that you have what it takes to invest. Now, if you are interested, of course, in learning more, and thank you again for tuning into the Legacy Lab, 60 minutes to Black financial freedom. I appreciate that. We're here every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you're interested in learning more about just some basic investment and what that looks like, then definitely go back to that number. Call me, 708, text me, 708-658-4735, and I can assist you and what that looks like for you. And so I want to pivot for a second and go to a young lady that is going to share more around Autism Awareness Month. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for calling into the Legacy Lab. Is this Miss Karshina Washington?
Yes, it is. How are you, Miss Stephanie?
Great afternoon, my sister in success. How are you?
I'm excited. You know, this is one of my favorite months of the year. So I'm excited, even with the rain outside, like you said, you know, that faith will keep you moving, honey. And so I'm just really excited about what's about to happen this month.
Well, first of all, thank you for calling in. And thank you for everything. This weekend was just, oh my goodness.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it was so good.
We are still talking about the professional. I went to a meeting for the businesses on the corridor over here on Commercial. And, we're a mixed blended. And they were like, oh, we didn't see brown and we just seen black.
Uh-oh.
But it looked like it was so amazing. So we have already kind of inspired them. So they're going to have a mix and mingle here for the businesses on Commercial. So just doing things allows other people the knowledge of knowing that it can be done. I think when we do things, we open the door to inspire others that may want to do it. And they just need that moment of motivation or, oh my goodness, this is what happened. This is what can happen. So I'm really, really excited because that was phenomenal.
It was. And I hope they got some Black businesses on down that corridor. Because,
it's only 3%. So
okay.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, so it's going to be a different mix and mingle, but listen.
I'm going to come. Do I need to brush up on my Espanol? Or
yeah, just come on over. I'm gonna invite you. Yes, it's coming up real soon as this month. Yes.
Awesome. Yes. I love it. We definitely can mix and mingle with everyone. I definitely want people to understand though. The reason why we highlight Black because we are often the most marginalized population. And that's everywhere across the globe. And so a lot of times they want us to create these coalitions. But you go into a lot of these communities and we gonna get to the autism awareness, but only because I want to make sure people know, like, I'm all inclusive. But I'm Black. I'm a Black woman.
Yeah.
And so that's
Black power, Black. Black on black on black on black.
Right? Blackity, and all the things. Say it loud. All the things. I'm Black and I'm proud. Yes. And so that's just it. And it's like, no matter where I go, like I was in Kenya and it's the same thing. It's like, we're just oppressed and we're talking about nations where it's predominantly, come on now. Like we got to get together and just, pour into one another so that we can get a little piece, a little bit. And so, okay, Autism Awareness Month. So you have something that is happening over on the East Side. So I want you to talk about what it is, how people can attend, what you need. Let's get the word out.
Okay. So as we know, April is Autism Awareness Month. And what we're doing this year, this is our 5th annual event. Since I've been over here, I got in with my boots on the ground, making sure that people have education about what it is. And so April is Autism Awareness Month. And on April the 19th, we are going to partner with our community partners, Clarishan Associates. That's right around the corner on 3091 East 91st Street. So they're literally around the corner. And what they did was create their facility to be a YMCA now. So it's like the Salute Center. That's what they call it. And they have a huge gym. So this year we're expanding. Every year we've been here at the studio, and it was kind of packed. And, you know, so this year I did what you just said. I had a little faith, and I was like, Lord, you know, I want to offer this to more families. And I just had that faith and the belief that he'll bring the people that are needed to help. And that's just what he did. So on April the 19th, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., we will have Artism. Now, the difference with autism and Artism is we're celebrating artists who live on the spectrum. So autism has 3 different spectrums. And so these are artists who are excelling in the arts. So all of them are artists. Like we had 3 artists here for last week. They are excelling. They are teaching. They are excelling in school. Some of them are teachers. And so I want to celebrate them. And during that day, it's not just about celebration, but it's also about resources. So you're not coming for like you're sitting down for a program. This is a interactive day where you can come, you can sign up for referrals. We'll have resource vendors. We have a few different highlighted ones, bigger and bigger, greater and bigger. We have respite services. So if you're taking care of someone that may be an adult that has autism, which that's an intellectual disability, and they need to sign up for services because you don't have anybody to help, they'll be there to give you referrals. And then we'll have interactive areas with sensory activities for the children. And then we're going to have some family Zumba. So it's going to be a day full of fun but impactful information. And what we need is more volunteers. We need more volunteers because we have lead people, but it's going to be a lot of people there. We have up to about, we open it up to about 50 to 75 people. But what we're going to need is people, not just people to come and volunteer, but people that are nice, Stephanie. Sometimes people volunteer and they have not been educated on, or they may not have even been around people who are on the spectrum. And I've seen people be very, very mean, and cruel because someone may be making a loud noise or, they may, and it's just like, it mourns my heart. And so I want to get the word out and get the awareness out. And on the 19th, that's what we're going to do.
Well, listen, sister, let me go ahead and just say I will volunteer. If it's just for an hour, I will definitely volunteer. You could put this school counselor down, okay, to volunteer, because this is very important. And I just recall, being in the school building and wearing the clothes to represent, autism awareness. And so, yes, it is very important, like you said. Now, I want to be able to tie this topic in with April being Financial Literacy Month. So when you think about, and you as a parent, right? Yeah. And I think that's so profound. Yeah. So when you think about parents who have children who are on the spectrum and they may not even be able, maybe they are able to work a career, but that would be because they may have a great village, a support system, right? But when you think about Financial Literacy Month and the opportunities that are out here, like, why is it so important for parents who have children on the spectrum to look into other ways where they can be more of a presence for their children?
Well, first of all, because your president now is taking away funding.
My president, right. Now I'm going to throw him to,
right now, we are doing petitions because those are some of the things that may be affected. Funding that's helping children and adults with autism. And so it's so vital that we try to be open to opportunities for financial freedom, because I can just talk about myself. when you have children that are on a spectrum, and if you don't have a support system, Stephanie, it takes money to hire people. If you're going to be able to excel and work, then you got to have finances to be able to have nannies. You got to have finances to be able to have therapy sessions. If you don't have insurance, me being an entrepreneur has made it a little difficult because now I have to figure out how to get my children covered once I make a certain amount of money. Once you make a certain amount of money, they cut you off everything. So it is vital that you have financial stability so you can take care of those children. I've seen children in the school system, and just because a child has a spectrum or special needs, you often see people abusing that. And sometimes it's because they don't have money to get them the nice things. Everybody is not getting government assistance. Some people don't even qualify. So what happens when you don't have additional income? The children suffer. The family suffers. I see some of the homelessness over here, Stephanie, and they're not just homeless. They're on the spectrum. I know it because I have children. And so something has happened where they could not take care of themselves. The grandmother could not take care of them. And so guess where they're out now? On the streets. And so it is important to get those finances, to get opportunities where you can be financially free. That is my goal, Stephanie. I'm not going to stop until I have the school. I'm not going to quit until I'm able to impact communities and not just offer classes, but teach people and then give them opportunities to also be financially free.
Yes,
that's the goal.
That's the goal. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much. I think, because I said this in March, money is not everything. We're definitely not worshiping money. Let's understand that. Yeah. But it costs, you need money to take care of the people that mean everything. And that's just it. It's like, so people can pretend all day long that, it's money. We don't have to keep talking about it. Yes, you do. Especially if you don't have it.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. You do. You really do. And I thank you for coming on Wednesdays. You said something earlier in the show about who was taught about financial literacy. I wasn't. So that means when I had a child that had special needs, I needed more money. Stephanie, I needed more income. And I've been challenged all of these years, and now I have different opportunities. I have different avenues that I can take to get it. And all I have to do is see it. Somebody said this morning, if you can see it, you can seize it. And so because I can see myself helping people, everybody, all inclusive, I can seize it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Wow. That is it. I absolutely adore you. I appreciate you. I'm grateful that we've connected. And we're going to the top because, they say the bottom is way too crowded and it's chaotic and it's confusion. And so we're going to go to the top and we're going to take as many people with us that want to go, people that are serious, people that have a love for people, people that want to help people, not just themselves, but people that understand that if we help enough people get what they want, then we by default get what we want. And so I appreciate you. Now go ahead and repeat that Artism, not autism, Artism event, the date, the time, the cost again.
So the donation, it is on Eventbrite. You can go to our page at Divine Purpose Fine Arts Center, or you can go to my page at Karshina Washington, and that is on Facebook or Instagram. And you can get that link, or you can go to Eventbrite and put in Artism. I have not seen any more on there. So if you put that in there, it is only a $10 donation. And we're doing that so all those proceeds go back to having these kind of programs and resources for when children come here. If a parent comes here, if parents can't afford for children to come, we're not turning them around. And so all those proceeds always always go to help. It is on the east side of Chicago at the Salute Center. That's 3091 East 91st Street. All of the information you can find under our pages. I'll share it with Stephanie. We do need volunteers, especially community service hours. Think about your high school students. As long as they're kind and friendly, they can come on and join us on that day and be a part of getting community service hours while also learning about autism awareness. Because it's not just for the people who are on the spectrum. It is to educate people who don't have the information.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I will be sure to drop that information under the videos and the things.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. I will see you soon. Have a good one. All right. All right. So you heard it, folks. You heard it. And I'm going to end with this. There is Proverbs 13:22 that says that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And we were just talking about children who are on the spectrum. And so imagine the assistance that they would need if they lost a parent, right? If they lost their main caregiver in their life. That traumatic experience for anyone, let alone someone who is on the autism spectrum. And so let's keep in mind that piece as we go into Financial Literacy Month, as we talk about what's important financially. And you know, as these months progress, you know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so when you think about money and finances, we're not even, when we get into May and mental health, and we talk about stress and anxiety and depression, all the things. And so this is very important. So I want to make sure you're listening in. So thank you so much for tuning into the Legacy Lab every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, shout out to Earl and Wanda. Definitely, you could tune in on intellectualradio.com. You could tune in wherever you are able to listen to podcasts. I appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe to YouTube, Stephanie Miller-Henderson. And you can find me on all the platforms, Stephanie Miller-Henderson. I thank you. I appreciate you. Be blessed.